Hey guys, it's time to talk a little strategy and what's going on with the Trump and Comey issue. Look, there's a lot of different angles to take it, and I'm a person, I like to prognosticate, okay? So don't hold me to this. This is the way I think the strategy is going. I think reading into Trump's strategy is kind of fascinating. He's somebody who kind of throws curveballs that even somebody like me, I like to think that I can figure people out. I can't always see it, and that's kind of why I ended up believing that he's much smarter than people give him credit for after he went to Mexico and basically scooped a great opportunity out of the hands of Hillary Clinton. I started to believe this is a guy that knows how to outsmart the opposition, doesn't matter who it is. And in this case, he is basically, I don't know what the hell is that photo up on the screen. Let me scroll down if you're getting alarmed. But his objective here is to outwit a number of different people. First of all, it's the Democratic caucuses in the House and the Senate. Okay, because those people will go on TV all the time, and you can count on it that whatever the headlines are, they're going to be talking about impeach Trump, and that this is an administration that has already discredited itself, and that Russia is controlling him, and that he's a puppet. So it doesn't matter what he does, but all he has to do, think about it this way, he knows what their reaction will be. He just has to make it look more ridiculous. So everything he does is calculated in order to basically shake the tree. And when everybody knows if you shake a pine tree, there's going to be more pine cones falling out onto the ground and whatever. And the Democrats have been shedding a lot of pine cones. So what's happened in the past few days, Trump claimed that he, in a tweet he said that Comey should hope that he doesn't have any tapes of any conversations with them in private. That would be pretty funny if he did. Think about it. Who tapes the head of the FBI? Everybody thinks that the head of the FBI is the one that does the surveillance, and it would be probably one of the greatest troll moves of all time if Donald Trump taped the head of the FBI in a private conversation. And even more so, I believe there's a motivation behind that. This is the second adversary that he has. So let's run them down. You have the first adversary, it's the Democrats in Congress and in general, the DNC. The second adversary is Jim Comey and the other intelligence heads that have proven so far to have very little determination to actually work with Trump and make him and help him protect the country. Supposedly their intention, their purpose for even existing is to protect the United States from all threats, foreign and domestic, as it says in the Constitution. In reality, all that they've been doing, and this has nothing to do with Trump. It could have been, with President Clinton, let's say, Bill Clinton, it could have been that they were trying to screw him. But there have been presidents. Kennedy is the most obvious that comes to mind. The military-industrial complex and the deep state, the U.S. intelligence community has betrayed, or they've thought that he betrayed them, so they rubbed him out. Richard Nixon is considered possibly to have been a victim of CIA dirty tricks, even though he perpetrated some of them. It's like this. As long as you have these organizations that are run in order to perform dirty tricks, they might actually backfire on the person who uses them. And that's Malcolm X's immortal quote, that the chickens have come home to roost. He said that when JFK got assassinated. And Donald Trump what he's doing here is saying, you know what, I'm not going to play that game. You guys, you left me hung out to dry after you said that I was not surveilled by any of these intelligence services, even though there's already evidence that Susan Rice unmasked his operatives, unmasked Donald Trump associates that she claimed were possibly connected to Russia. She unmasked intelligence about them, even though none of it pointed to them actually having any illegal contact with Russia. And these guys, they just go before Congress and they pretty much act like Trump is a raving lunatic, okay? So let's say, here we go, we have to split, we have to do a little fork in the road diagram, right? Fork in the road, okay? Fork to the left is that Trump has no tapes, but he makes Comey think that he has tapes. Therefore, Comey's testimony in Congress, he'll have to try to dodge Donald Trump and, mince words, because it's possible that he said something that was, maybe even not related to this Russia thing that he has to be embarrassed about. It could go either way. He could be embarrassed by something that he did say to Trump that has nothing to do with Russia, and therefore, even if there is no tape, even if Trump is lying out of his Twitter teeth, then Jim Comey will probably refrain from saying anything embarrassing in Congress about Donald Trump. Now, here's the other fork. Okay, let's say he does have something about Comey. He does have a recorded conversation, but Comey does decide to, reveal something damaging on Donald Trump. Trump will then reveal whatever is said in that conversation, and in some cases, it could be that he's intending to reveal James Comey's statements to be lies if he testifies before the Congress. It's a pretty, it's not that complicated of a strategy, but it's a pretty ballsy one, and I think you have to give him a little respect for that. You're talking about outfoxing the head of the FBI. Okay, now, granted, we've started to see that the head of the FBI may not be as smart as he thinks he is. It might be that he tries to pull so many complicated moves that he ends up tying himself in knots and losing his entire credibility. That's what's happened with Comey, that he lays out this case against Hillary Clinton, and then he says that nobody would prosecute her if it were to be brought to trial. He does this whole thing where he reopens the investigation before the election. He apparently, according to several sources, has called Trump crazy and unhinged, and that's going to come back to bite him, because now you can't go. Now, look, if everything was equal, nobody would care about that, because Barack Obama basically fired Stanley McChrystal, the U.S. Officer in command in Afghanistan, because he said some things that were unflattering about Obama to a Rolling Stone reporter. That's basically what happened. So he fired him. He fired him just because he was trash talking Obama to a reporter. Now you have Comey, who may or may not have leaked some of this information, leaked this memo that apparently they're talking about now. And look, James Comey's credibility has already been shot to shit. There's nobody in... A lot of people, I just saw this ridiculous Twitter poll where 90% of people said that they trust Jim Comey more than Donald Trump. Think back about that, because last year, most of your party was asking for him to be basically grilled like a tuna. Anyway, so that's like my two-pronged strategy if I'm Donald Trump. I say, you know what? If I don't have the tapes, I make him think I have tapes, and then he's thinking about things that he could have said to me that were incriminating. If I do have the tapes, then I have the potential to go and, for example, vindicate the claim that he was not under investigation for ties to Russia. Second of all, to disprove this whole memo theory about Michael Flynn having gone under trial, or not under trial, having been under investigation. The FBI would drop the investigation. So if he could disprove either of those, it would cause tremendous damage to the Washington Post and to the media, who are his third enemy, and third meaning the greatest enemy in this case. The media has clearly jumped the shark when it comes to reporting on Trump, and their eagerness was on full display both last week and this week. Last week it was for, there's so many ones that I can't remember anymore, but the Washington Post published, I believe it was the story where Donald Trump was, let me see. Here we go. They said Deputy Attorney General Rod J. Rosenstein threatened to resign after the narrative emerging from the White House on Tuesday evening cast him as a prime mover of the decision to fire Comey, and that the president acted only on his recommendation, said the person close to the White House who spoke on the condition of anonymity because of the sensitivity of the matter. So they published this fake story that didn't happen about Rosenstein wanting to resign, and they can't name the source. They have to, because of their bullshit journalistic principles, which the Washington Post claims that it can hold to, but in reality they always want to know what everybody else's sources are. So they claimed that Rosenstein was going to resign because of the Comey firing. It never happened, and they're unapologetic. So this week they had this whole thing about first the Russia intelligence sharing, and now this whole Comey memo thing. This is just going to continue to backfire again and again on them. And I would suspect, I've heard other people, I think the Sticks has mentioned it. There's people who are alleging now that Donald Trump has a dummy linker in the White House. He has somebody who's basically has a job to spread disinformation to the press and make them look like fools. And it's working. If that's the strategy, then it's working beautifully. There's many newspapers that are losing tons and tons of readers now because nobody can believe a single word they're saying. And I think that's what's going to happen to the Washington Post. So anyway, that's it. This is this is a little long, but it's long enough. I don't want to make it 30 minutes every time. So this is Ramon, bold like a leopard. What do you think about the Trump strategy? I know this was bad graphics in this video. It was just me barely even reading from the page. Not that that's what you tune in for. But here's the strategy again. Really brief. If he does not have the tape, he still makes Comey wonder about whether he has something on record that Comey would find embarrassing that may have nothing to do with the Russia investigation. If he does have the tape, then anything Comey says, it's possible that Trump can automatically refute it using this audio tape. And in the thick of it, he can sort of troll on all these intelligence heads that are claiming, oh, he doesn't know how to do intelligence. Well, you got taped and you're the head of an intelligence agency. You got taped talking bullshit. So that's it. This is Ramon, bold like a leopard. Let me know what your thoughts are, and have a great Wednesday. Good night.